Hey everybody, what is going on? It is Tasty Licks Interviews. It is so good to see you guys. It is good to see our guest, Brandon. What is going on, buddy?
Woo! What's going on, fellas? Glad to be here. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thanks for coming on in. We appreciate it. So, James, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Great to have you on there, brother. Great to get you on.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been really excited to have Brandon on. Not only have we've been talking to you since Dusty's show, but he's also really good friends with Dusty, which is awesome. So that we have that connection there. We love Dusty. Dusty's awesome dude.
What's not to love?
He's excellent dude.
Performer, great friend.
Yeah, for sure. I was like, I don't want to be like a groupie, but I text him like every other week, so I don't just get too much like where I want to talk to him all the time because I know he's a busy dude. I'm like, hey, how's it going? And then I wait, and I'll be like, does he still like me?
Just sprinkles and little spurts. I got
That's right. Just not too. You don't want to be overwhelming.
I'm like, don't seem too. Oh, look who it is. Dusty's in here right now.
Dusty's in. What's going on, buddy? So I was like, hey, text. And then, I know that also there's that connection with the publicist. So I was just like, oh, I don't want to be too much. So anyway.
The wires are getting crossed and tied in a knot.
That's right. So anyway, let's talk dessert, my friends. We're going to switch it up and we're going to talk a little bit of desserts. You know that, I don't even try to compete anymore. Just not even a thing to compete with. So Andy has bought himself the Three Musketeers again because we are the Three Musketeers tonight. So that's what we're going with. But I know that the man himself,
there always has to be some competition going on. You always you can't just go, oh, I'm defeated and throw in the white flag. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you gotta throw something in there, bro.
I got better start.
Make a cake or something. I don't care. Bring a whole cake.
I know. I'm going to start doing it. I'll just have to start doing it. I was looking in the freezer, and I was like, all I have is popsicles and frozen fruit.
Which are deliciously refreshing. There's no question.
Nothing wrong, but it wasn't anything that you'd go, hey, look, and I got some frozen fruits we make smoothies with in the morning.
Hey, well, yeah.
What's whatever. And then, Brandon, what have you brought to the table today, buddy?
Well, I brought something to the table, but it's not my favorite dessert. My favorite dessert, I learned in Atlanta, Georgia. I spent most of my summers there as a kid with my mother and her sisters, and they were famous for making the family recipe banana pudding that continued on for many years. And it's hard to beat it. Believe me, I've sought it out many different places. Magnolia Bakery, Susie Cakes. Those are close contenders. They do a great job, but it's not quite the same as Mama's Touch. But today, I brought Smarties. It's a delicious, tasty candy.
Yes, you can't go wrong with Smarties.
Smarter.
And every time you eat it, exactly, get a few more little IQ points.
That's right. You're Smartie, and you realize that it's just really nothing but sugar with some sort of flavoring.
Well, hey, you know what?
It's the best ever.
Stop all over my dreams.
Not stopping. I am fully. That is that is my favorite candy from Halloween. Like when this was like, I think it was because my sisters would steal some of my candy when I was growing up. And so they would take the candy bars, and what would they leave me with? Smarties and these little brown like balls of some sort that were like kind of chocolatey, kind of. Not really that. No, well, they still had those. Yeah, I still got some of those too. But the Smarties I started loving because that was all I had. So we're good. Well,
I didn't have any siblings, so I always kept the good stuff. So around the big stack of the big pillowcase, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta love that as a kid.
Right? Just bury your head in the pillowcase. What do I got?
Okay, Brandon. Favorite Halloween candy?
Favorite Halloween candy? That's a tough one. I think there's a trifecta at play here because when you're out, you always want to see the miniature-sized Snickers. I'm sure you want to see some Skittles. and I think Baby Ruth. But those are great. But then we're totally discounting the Reese's family. It's just there's too many. You got to go peanut butter cup, Snickers, Starburst. Definitive final answer.
There we go. What do you think, James?
Like, I'm around like this. You can't forget the Reese's are like the staple. I mean, I would have to go with that and like a Butterfinger, maybe like Starburst to be that third. But yeah, definitely those three.
I'm an M&M kid and a Snickers kid. Snickers, I got you. Snickers, yeah. And again, Smarties. I really have a thing for Smarties, and I think it's just because I could just like try to eat one, or I could try to throw them all in my mouth at the same time.
The whole roll in there.
And then I would throw 4 is Pixie Stick, because you get that.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, Pixie Stick.
Great
drugs for children.
That's right. You're like, hey, look.
Start them early.
Do you remember when we were kids? Maybe I'm a little bit older. I don't know how old you are, Brandon. But when I was a kid, they actually gave away little candy cigarettes that they would like. If you blew, it had like a puff of like sugar or smoky.
Sure.
It's probably my era. They were trying to actually probably promote kids not to smoke, but this group was like, "Hey, let's get them to smoke early."
Until they graduate. Literally.
I remember those.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, we got some muffins here.
Delicious!
Look at those! Look at those! Yeah,
cinnamon streusel muffins.
Gotta love them, man.
Yeah,
absolutely love them. Yeah, for sure. What's going on? So we got some amazing people in house. We got Gary, we got Ben Taft, who is another singer. Totally cool. He came on our show maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. And then we have bearded Joey Hookham. What's going on, buddy? It's good to see you. What's going on? And so, yeah, really cool. You know, it's so fun to be doing this. This is episode 6, folks. I can't even believe it's episode 6. What a fun time we've had so far. And just to let everybody else know, we just started up our podcast this week. So very exciting stuff going on for us. So cool. Yeah, it's totally fun. And basically it's just going to be a dump of the YouTube. So, but we want people to be able to listen to it and be part of the podcast society. So very exciting because we love our guests. We absolutely love our guests. So
double dip it.
Absolutely. You know, it's fun to be able to talk with musicians. And you this week have released something absolutely, in my book, really great music. Definitely a little bit of a departure from your last album. You put out on Monday. Your premiere was Monday, and then now you can go get it on any of your major Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Right. You can get a little snippet, like I found out today from actually IG, because I don't know where they're getting their stuff from, but your stuff was on IG today too. That's the reason why I was able to get your snippet. And None to Spare is his single that just came out. Congratulations, man. I know that came with a lot of work. So kudos, man. Kudos. Awesome music.
I did see it on YouTube as well. I think it released on YouTube, did it not? Or
it did. It should be just about every damn place at this point. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad that you've enjoyed it. The song was definitely evolution, growth. I was trying new things. The beautiful thing about writing songs is capturing those feelings and those emotions and those moments in time, whatever you're going through, boom, lightning in a bottle, record it. It's tangible for all time. And then you can keep evolving, keep growing, because I'm not going to feel the same way today as I did last week, last month, last year, or as I will next week, next month, next year. Right. So that's what is so precious for me about writing songs and really just kind of leaning into this feels good. I'm just going to run with it instead of trying to fit it into a certain box.
I love that, man. So the song to me really spoke, and I don't, I'm the practitioner. I come from that whole spiritual side, meditation teacher. So to me, this really spoke of what we call precious human life, which is the fact that you really don't have time to spare. There's everything you must take advantage of every moment, every breath. everything that is going on around you in the present, you need to take advantage of it and make something happen for yourself. And I think that this is what that song spoke to me. Now, tell me a little bit about the story that you had behind making this.
Well, I think you're pretty spot on with the lyrics. It's that acknowledgement that life is precious. We do not have all the time in the world. If a lot of people are saying, oh, when I get free time, when I have spare time, when I have downtime, when I have extra time, oh, this is work time. Well, guess what? It's all coming off the clock. It's all lifetime. So that's an important acknowledgement to make, because I believe, at least for me, it allows me to live more wholly in what's going on today, more fulfilled in that respect, to try to make every day great and enjoy all the positive takeaways and the things that you can be grateful for in our daily lives. Can't take that stuff for granted. And so acknowledging that makes the whole experience more enjoyable, because hell, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
True. None to spare. Yeah.
None to spare. Absolutely.
And so that touches down on the lyric component. But in terms of putting that song together, this was a different challenge for me. I wanted to start 2020 taking on some new tasks. I wanted to hit it with some serious momentum. So I took a songwriting class and production class with this guy, Ryan Tedder. He's a super pop phenom with his own music, writes for Adele, Beyonce, Paul McCartney, just crazy.
Wow.
So while that was generally out of my lane, it was great to be able to immerse myself in his approach, in his perspective to how he crafts these songs. And so during this class, we were challenged to, create our own songs along the way. This happened to be one of them. So it was a tight timetable with strict deadlines, which forced me to be confident in the decisions that I was making, lean into my instincts, and keep it moving forward. Because I can tell you firsthand, the curse of every writer and songwriter is, oh, well, it's not perfect. It's not done yet. I need to keep working on it. But at a certain point, you have to acknowledge what you're satisfied about, abandon it, and keep moving on. Because otherwise, it's never done. Art is never finished.
Dwell on it. Yeah, it's going to sit there. It's going to just collect dust.
It's such a truth. So I know that from my own experience with especially my dad, who is a composer. It is so hard to put your baby out into the world when you feel like it's like, oh, if I would just tweak it, maybe I'll just do this, I'll do that. And you can do little tweaks forever. It's it's like the 80-20 rule. You get it 80% there, and then it's the 20% you spend the other 80% on. It's just you spend most of your time on that 20% thinking you can tweak it and get it better when you got most of it done.
Right.
And the tweaks at that point, having I think you're absolutely right on to something. And that's how, I created this. It comes from the creative genius of you. It is something that a message you want to say. And then, everything else, just unless it's, sometimes you just come up with this is just a bad idea. But I think in this case, perfect, awesome. And I'm glad that you had some of help with getting that. My dad and mom used to take me and my sister Nicole to this Arizona songwriters composition. Cool. It was like once a month in Tempe, Arizona. And it was the same experience where they were like, every month you had to create something to be able to publish and say, hey, here's what I did. And it was always like some theme or something like that. What was the kind of like the thought process to be able to make it? Because I like the music. It's definitely a departure from just the rocking drive of rock.
Sure.
I think but it still had the message in there, and it also had definitely different music. What made you kind of go down this direction?
Well, that's always the challenge. You want to approach everything with a fresh set of ears and a fresh set of eyes. I spent the majority of my life in my band Diamond Lane that started when we were kids playing hard rock, heavy metal stuff till the end of time. So when the opportunity came to put out my debut solo album last year, it was very liberating in a sense, because it didn't have to fit into a particular mold or genre even. So to be able to, like we said, lean into those instincts and do what feels good, that was an amazing experience and immersion that only adds fuel to the fire. Now, you touched on the fact that you can't always write great songs. Of course, self-editing and having that self-filter and the, real honest look at yourself and what you're doing and creating, I think is the most valuable tool in anyone's arsenal, because it keeps things real, keep it honest. And so that was always, in the back of my mind as, creating the songs for the debut album. And then with this, just leaning into how I was feeling. I kind of did an examination. I'm constantly revolving around themes of time and the importance of that, or the many faces of it. And so I kind of had that acknowledgement, and this song and the upcoming ones that'll come out over the summer leading up to the album in the fall are all revolving around that. So it's kind of putting a earmark in this chapter, for a lot of different reasons in my life. Time is a quintessential component, and to acknowledge that and just the finiteness of it. Right. And so with this song, I just tied it up in a pretty little bow, and I thought it was pretty catchy. So I didn't get too caught up in, this doesn't fit into the rock mold. It's not heavy enough. People aren't going to like it. Screw all that noise.
Right.
A good song's a good song.
It's almost like what you think people would think like when they heard it for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Because they're expecting the same old, like, oh, this is going to be a rock and metal album. It's going to kick ass or whatever. And then they expect like what is this? Like, where do you go with this one? But then like when you listen to it, it definitely you still understand the message as if it was even still a rock or metal song.
Understood. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that it translates like that. I'm definitely proud of what I did, and I completely am cognizant of the fact that it's, may not fit in everybody's playlist. Right. And that's fine. It doesn't have to, because I like it and I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
That's all that matters. As long as you like it.
That is all that matters.
That is all that matters.
You're the one making it. You try and focus on what people will like, and I'm pretty sure it'll grow on them. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna have to be like, oh, I gotta listen to it a couple times, and I'm pretty sure it'll grow on me or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think it's everybody has to take a risk, and step out of like the comfort zone of what they do already.
Yeah.
Maybe not everything can be a rock. Maybe they want to do something. I mean, I think Kiss stepped out of zone. Kiss stepped out of their zone sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just, everybody has done that. Sure. Every artist has done that.
And that's the way that it's funny that people have that debate, and I think the ones that I can remember the biggest ones of are Metallica. Metallica, some of those type of bands that they're not like the old Metallica. You mean the new Metallica? Or Van Halen when they got Sammy Hagar after David Lee Roth left. That's not the same. It's musically different, but it's expanding what musically and pushing yourself in different areas, which is exactly what this is. This is pushing yourself as a musician to create something new and expand your horizons, which as a creator, as a musician, that's what you're always after. That's what got us into this space, is that you're a musician to be able to create different things. And that creation process is what this is. And that's the culmination, is this song was this creative process and you were able to do some different things, put it into words, and then throw it out in the world. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. So great job.
Ron says Van Hagar, by the way.
Oh, hey, Sammy Hagar is absolutely amazing. Anybody who dogs Sammy Hagar just doesn't know what they're talking about. The man today is standing on stage, still ripping, sounding as great as ever. I just want to party with Sammy.
Right?
I know. Well, it was, it's very interesting. So you think about this, Black Sabbath. So Ozzy left, and then Dio joined. And I am one of the biggest. I love Dio, and when he came out with Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules, you're like, these are quintessential, amazing, and that's what kind of got Dio into who Dio is. He's an amazing artist.
Oh yeah.
But with Black Sabbath, Ozzy moved on, created his own band, but he still really added something to Sabbath. Those two albums are two of my favorites, actually.
Oh yeah.
No question. I think anytime you add Ronnie James in the mix, it's gonna yield great results. Yeah. You guys, had canon of generations.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, there's a band Lilac Band. I don't know if you've seen them, Brandon or James. I've been following. The girl sounds like Ronnie James Dio. Like does the Holy Diver song, and you're like, "Whoa!"
Nice.
He's just
I
like
think I
you
have
have
some.
challenged Dio. Yeah, you have Dio has come into your body and is singing. It is amazingly good. I mean, I'm just like the first time I heard it, I was like, "Is that Dio? Who is that? Is she like just lip syncing to Dio? What's going on here?"
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, good stuff.
I
So,
like it.
so growing up, Brandon? What was kind of what was your musical upbringing? What kind of drove you and inspired you to be doing what you're doing?
Well, I grew up in Seattle, and I had 5 older brothers. And so at a very, very, very young age, I was exposed to all of their music, their tastes, whatever they were listening to at the time, all the new things that were coming out, the transition from vinyl to Walkman to CD.
Yeah,
It was quite a time to be alive, particularly kind of coming of age and becoming aware of all this amazing stuff in Seattle during the early 90s, during the mid 90s, watching the whole grunge evolution and everything that went down with that. That just imprinted on me so freaking hard.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, this was back in the time where we all take for granted, or a lot of younger folks don't even know life before the internet. But so they printed these guys in the newspaper, and it's on the evening news, a little segment about, Soundgarden's, playing at the Paramount Theater and this and that and the other, and a little clip from the show. So that just kind of like lasered its way into my brain and started me on this whole, wild love affair that will last until my days are done.
very nice. Very nice. It's what the funny thing about music is it means something to everybody different. And I think we all have different influences, but it's amazing how we can come together over music as well. So many.
The great Unifier. It speaks all languages. That is the beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
It's universal. It doesn't matter where you're from, what language you speak. We can all common ground on that.
Right.
Absolutely. I was playing some blues riffs the other day, and I was just like, for me, blues is one of those, like, end of the day, some stuff happened, I'm ready to jam and play the blues. And I was just listening to some blues throughout the day, and I was just like, I'm going to go pick up the guitar, start throwing through some blues riffs and some scales, and just learning some new blues stuff. And it was just so much fun. And I realized that that's why we do this. It's that emotional connection that we have with music and the moods that we're in. And that's what I kind of got from the new single, to be honest with you. And some of your last album, again, amazingly good, a little bit more rock, but the lyrics were solid. But again, I was really focused on your single this week, and I think I connected with it. And I think that's the amazing, again, what you're saying is it's the unifier. The lyrics really speak to people, and you never know how they're going to speak to people. Somebody could be, I've seen people who are like, you said this, and your lyrics said this, and you may have not meant it that way, but they took it like that, and it changed their life. Because they were like, hey, you're right. I need to be in the now. And it just
people assign their own meaning to different lyrics. So I've never really been a fan of, let me tell you exactly what this song is about. And you spell it out for people as if they, don't have the capacity to think for themselves or interpret differently. There's a lot of beauty in that interpretation because, you harken back to, some things that imprinted on you. And, I used to love these lyrics and I always thought it meant this and that. And then some odd years later, you hear the artist say, oh, no, it was actually about this. And you're like, oh, whoa, that I had no idea. For me, it certainly doesn't change, how I would feel about a particular set of lyrics or music. But no, I'm totally right there with you. Lyrics, the more pointed and powerful, the more they'll resonate. So I was definitely proud with putting these together because I knew it all kind of could harken back to the chorus. Time is wasting, none to spare, and you really ought to know when it's up, that's a wrap.
Right.
Important things for everyone to acknowledge. And, like I said, do that and you'll find greater joy in every day knowing that maybe it could be your last.
Sure.
Totally true. Totally true. That's exactly why so I tell people I'm a practitioner, a meditation practitioner, Buddhist practitioner, and that's exactly what I tell my students. This is exactly what I tell my students, because you really don't have the time to spare, and do what you want now. Don't put it off. And I
Right.
think that's what's really spoke to me was, don't put it off. There's so much opportunity in the now, to be able to feel things, to be able to change things, pick up the phone, talk to the people that you love, do something that's unique, do something creative, which is what this is. This is a creative, something different for yourself.
No
And it's
question.
also, yeah. And so that leads me, it's more of like that, an acoustic. It has more of that acoustic type feel to it, which I absolutely love acoustic. So that was a little bit more of a departure for you. What was it what kind of led you into just doing more of like a kind of an acoustic set?
Well, I made the decision early on that I wanted it to embody something that revolved around a very simple and straightforward chord progression, just as the basis of it, and then being able to build and extrapolate from there. I wanted to incorporate acoustic guitar because I've done it, maybe as an intro or maybe as a, featured part in a bridge, but to kind of have that laden throughout the entire track was something new for me as well. So it's always fun to embrace that. And like I said, we were doing this in the methodology of the classroom setting. So, getting direct feedback and being able to, put it together in a clever way. I was happy to be able to pull this one away from that learning experience. I had no expectations that, oh yeah, these 3 songs we're going to write, I'm going to put out as, my first, song this year. That's a happy surprise.
It's right on. It's a great.
Yeah.
Go ahead, James.
I was to say, so like with like the style that you're going with, like with this song and stuff like that, like the album, obviously do you have going on? Are you going to go with the same style like on maybe the next CD, or maybe kind of switch it up to be more rock metal, or kind of mix it with a little bit of both, or?
These next songs are definitely more in the unique style vein. I'm not even going to say that they sound like None to Spare, but they certainly are, again, more growth and evolution, just capturing those moments in time. Most of them were put together in the relatively same time frame. So it's definitely excitable to do that. And, it's fun to kind of just throw the dice and take a little gamble.
Oh, yeah.
If people like it, wonderful, fantastic. If they don't, well, guess what? There's, hundreds of millions, if not billions of songs online.
Well, this is the cool thing. This is the cool thing about it is, though, that you will hit somebody. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people, and there is a lot of ability to pick up on. Somebody will. I mean, I like it.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a great departure. I love metal. Don't get me wrong, and I'm sure that me and Brandon and James would all agree that metal is great. I mean, we grew up with metal, some grunge. I'm definitely 80s metal, and I love acoustic. That was what I learned guitar on. So, my dad was like, "Hey, I have an acoustic guitar." Before I got my Ibanez, my dad gave me his acoustic and said, "Hey, why don't you learn how to play?" And then before that, it was a PV bass. Hey, I'm going to teach you music, and you're going to love music. And if it can be done acoustically, that's great too. And some of the greatest musicians, you take a look at one of the best primo albums is that MTV Live from Nirvana.
Yep. When MTV started the Unplugged series, that was one of the most iconic things they did. Even like Alice in Chains and Nirvana. Alice in Chains, oh my god! I watched that from start to finish, and it's almost like you're there. You know what I'm saying? You kind of feel like Lane Staley, you're right in front of them. You know what I'm saying? You feel that emotion. You feel more of an emotion with the acoustic.
Intimate moments. Well, it's stripped down to its essence.
Yeah.
That was another kind of eye opener that you should be able to boil down a song to its bare minimum and still have it resonate and connect.
Right.
And so that's why I think it's a combo of the ingredients, not only the music, but the melodic content, the lyrical content. It's all got to meet in some synergistic way to be the best version that it can possibly be for your own consumption.
Right, absolutely.
Hey,
So
what's up,
Miss Nicole joined us. What's going on?
Hey, Nicole. But
How's it
James, to touch on what you said in terms of what the future holds after these next couple of months and the record in October or the fall thereabouts, what's beyond that? It's hard to say. I'm just going to keep rolling with it. But I will tell you, I mean, I spent damn near 20 years, rocking hard on tour and on stage with that kind of music. So no, that's burned on me. So am I still going to do rock music at a certain point? Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out.
It's whatever you're feeling at the
Whatever
moment.
I'm feeling. Exactly. That's the beauty about being in charge of doing whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the whole thing. You're a musician first. You don't you go with the flow of how you're feeling and how it works for you at the moment. And I think creating an acoustic set is perfectly awesome.
Sure.
I mean, honestly, it you have to, and what you pointed out was the chord progressions and some of the things that you were focusing on musically to form that. So it's not just loud, distorted guitars that will sound good with this riff. This is musically pushing yourself into a different arena so that if you do win, and if you do go back into rock, it'll sound maybe even more tighter. Maybe it'll have some different music that's coming out of the rock for yourself that's going to be like, hey, let's try this scale. Let's try this thing instead of this, just really musically challenging yourself. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
New ways of thinking, new ways of going about it. I absolutely agree. And I can promise whatever I do beyond this, it's going to be different because that's the whole point, right? You don't want to keep repeating yourself. There's no merit in being redundant, particularly at this stage. Keep taking risks, keep trying, keep gambling because, like you said, there's a lot of music lovers out there and it's just about trying to find the audience that'll appreciate what you're doing.
And there will be, for sure. And the funny thing about it is that there will be a departure of people who go, hey, now we went off the acoustic stuff and now it's back into rock. And, that's just the way people are. But the good thing is that if you follow a musician because you think they have good things to say, they create good music, you'll follow them on their journey because this is about journey for you as well. Yep. As a musician in your journey and how you're progressing as a musician. And so follow Brandon's journey. You will see some amazing things on this journey. You saw that he was with his Diamond Lane, right? Which was his old band. And now you're seeing him take on to his own, a little bit more different things, with his own, he went solo act. And now maybe he'll go and do some other stuff, more collaborations with other people, but enjoy the journey while watching a musician, kind of blossom and become something different. It's awesome. I love Journey.
I'm all about it. That's what it is. You think when you're younger and they say it's about the journey, not the destination. And you're like, yeah. I just want to get to the destination. But then as you get older and you can reframe it and look at it through a different lens. No, it really is about the journey because all we have is the journey. The destination is moot. It's not guaranteed. We could plan. And you know what happens to the best laid plans? Boom! Laid to waste.
Absolutely.
That's how it goes. So
I've had that experience this week. Actually, I've had that experience. I had, it's just funny because things just don't go your way, and being able to roll from it and journey and be able to pivot in a different way. And I think that this is a pivot. It's just a little different. It's along your journey. You're pivoting into some acoustic land, learning some music. How somebody else writes their music, because I know that these guys, because my dad would come and a person that was a professional from LA would come out and do the session with the songwriters of Arizona. And he would come out and have an opinion, and my parents would go back and forth because they're both musicians. They'd go back and forth on whether this opinion was correct, but they always seemed to want to find the thing that helped them from that. Like, he said this, let me try this in my next music. Let me try this. And then it's something that he really loved, or my mom really loved. Just awesome. So I'm glad that you're able to get somebody else's, maybe somebody else's style, how they make it, and then make it your own. That's the greatest thing about learning from these guys.
I would say, not even style, but the approach, because there's definitely a methodical, decisions that are being made to construct pop songs, which was totally out of my wheelhouse. But hey, it's cross training It's important to do that when you're an athlete, and as a singer and a writer, your brain, your body's working. I consider that athletics, 100%. So to be able to digest somebody else's POV and like, oh, that's interesting. I never thought to incorporate this or do that. And also, all of this is coupled with the fact, let's not forget, because of the times and the circumstances, I didn't have access to the regular creature comforts that I normally would, going to the studio, collaborating with, whomever or what have you. So recording and tracking everything here, literally where I'm sitting and singing right there in that microphone, it was a new experience because this whole past year and a half forced me to level up my, engineering and my know-how. So just always a student of the game. That's what it has to be. New information, new data equals new decisions. It's all boom, boom, boom.
Very cool. Very cool. So we're going to switch it a little bit. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions about places you've been, things you've done. So what is your favorite arena to perform in so far?
That's a great, fantastic, amazing question. There are, without a doubt, some amazing clubs and that intimate experience. But one of the things that I've really got an awesome taste for was for a couple of consecutive years, Diamond Lane, we had great featured slots at Rocklahoma out in Oklahoma, right outside of Tulsa. So that energy, just being a part of, a 3-day weekend festival with tens of thousands of people, there's just a certain energy about it. And particularly that part of the country during that time of year, it's hot. There's tornado warnings, freak thunderstorms, downpours. The dang thing got rained out, rescheduled. Everything you could imagine that could and would go wrong on a tour. You got 14 guys and a driver on a bus, and it's torrential hail and downpours in the middle of Oklahoma with tornado warnings, and there's sirens going off. Everybody take shelter. Everybody take cover. Are we going to live through the night? I don't know. But those are some of the fondest memories and experiences. So, yes, was it wild and out of control and all of our lives were in supreme danger? Yeah, but when is rock and roll not dangerous? It at least should be. But that experience, being in that environment, those people, beautiful
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
Now, besides like music and stuff, you actually do voice acting, right?
Correct. Absolutely love it. That was
you got in a game, I believe, right? I read.
Yeah, that's a new development this year. The game is called Lieber by Olkin Games, and it should be coming out later this year, I believe. I kind of get little snippets and updates, which is an awesome thing to be a part of. Voice acting, it kind of fell into my lap 10 years ago, just an opportunity, with a graphic designer that we worked with for an album cover, said, hey, I'm doing this video and, need some overdubs. And little by little, those things came by proxy. And then a couple years ago, I said, I want to start taking this more seriously. So, got training, classes, coaches, studying, adding more tools to the toolbox. Because at the end of the day, it's me using my voice on the mic. I love to do that singing. So, again, cross-training, adding more tools in the toolbox, versatility, leveraging the odds. It's super exciting. I really enjoy doing it. And I look forward to any opportunities that I can acquire or create for myself in this field.
And that's definitely an awesome experience, like just to even do a voiceover. I thought about doing like a voiceover, or what it would be like to do like a voiceover, like something with doing that. So I think that was just an awesome experience.
Yeah, it was awesome to again, put that together, engineer, edit it all myself, send it halfway across the globe, and then you see it transpire on screen. It looks like a badass video game. I kind of hung up my sticks after PS1. But
me too.
It looks fantastic, and just to see my voice attached with many other hardworking creative people's vision and seeing that come to life, that's just super rewarding.
That's awesome, man.
It would be cool if it was like the character itself would actually have your feature.
Right.
You'd actually feel like a video game character. You know?
Got to draw on the mustache, little longer hair.
Awesome. That's really cool. So that's awesome. That's really cool. So how have you liked that so far? Has it been like a really big have you gotten into, I mean, what would I other than a game, is there anything else that I would know you from, like voice acting wise?
I mean, some cool opportunities have transpired over the years. There was this awesome campaign. It was a commercial and a song created for Brisk to air in Canada. So it was about the Brisk apocalypse. And I was the featured character Thunderwolf, who, turns all crazy when I drink this Brisk and get struck by lightning. It's awesome.
That's cool.
I believe it's on my channel. If not, it'll definitely be on the Diamond Lane one. That was a really, really cool experience. That's Brisk, baby. Like, just awesome to be able to kind of, ham on that and have a good time.
That is really cool.
There was a Aquafina radio commercial that was just on the radio. And I remember getting calls from my brother in Seattle and saying, dude, did you do a commercial? I swear I just heard you on this, the spot I just heard, for bottled water, for Happy Bodies. That's what it was. That was a hoot. So to be able to like touch on these different mediums is, really exciting.
Wow, that is really cool. That's ultra cool, man. I think that's really cool. Well, your brother calls you up out of the blue, like, "Hey, I think I heard his voice."
I know, because you don't know. You just do the job and then keep on moving on with your life. You don't know when things are going to air, get held up. So to get a call like that, super surprising, absolutely hilarious. And again, it adds the fuel to the fire. Something that I can continue to be passionate about. That's still in the same world, but a different diversification from writing songs, singing songs on stage, and so forth.
Very cool.
And Ron asked, so Diamond Lane is, you're not playing with them no more, yeah?
Well, I don't look at it like that.
Not over, but but obviously you're doing your solo.
Here's the deal. My best buddy, Jarrett Reese, we started Diamond Lane in 2002 when we were kids in high school. Oh. And so as long as him and I are alive, the band will always exist. Right now, it's just sitting on ice until maybe we feel like, throwing some gasoline back on the embers. That's the thing. Half a dozen albums, a lot of amazing experiences. It's nice to kind of mix things up a little bit, especially knowing that that's always there. That's a part of who I am and a huge part of the journey.
Sure. What's your favorite part about touring or being part of a band like that? What's your favorite part?
The people, meeting people of all different walks from all different places with all different stories, meeting on the common ground of we all love the way that this stuff makes us feel. Having this, it's almost a spiritual connection where we're all there for the same reasons because it adds this value to our lives. It makes us better people and gives us something, worth fighting for ultimately. And so to have the great fortune of being in a position to go meet all these different people who are so kind and so generous and appreciate what we're bringing to the table, that's absolutely fantastic. Particularly, you live in Los Angeles and you do the dance and all of that. And yes, it's great. And you can achieve success and pack clubs and, have a great network. But it's so big and so expansive, you're never really getting the attention that you feel you deserve or really do deserve. But the second you get the hell out of, the big city and you show your presence in a place that maybe doesn't get as much traffic as, they would like in terms of, creative entertainment, the joy is palpable. And it's just one of those human connection experiences that, again, just adds fuel to the tank and makes you feel good and a positive affirmation that you're bringing some goodness into the world.
Absolutely.
Well said. That's why we do it. That's why we do it right there, guys. That's the statements. Those are the reasons why creative musicians create and why we enjoy them so much, because that's exactly the passion that goes into them right there. Yeah, awesome.
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
So I'm going to say that I'm going to ask the questions that I always want to know about musicians.
Great.
What are your favorite? So you play guitar. What is your brand, your go-to brand of guitars or guitar? Maybe you have different, like for different, maybe acoustic is this, maybe, but what is your favorites to go to? And then what amps and maybe what pedals that you love?
Well, I think it's a over generous and kind statement to call me a guitar player. Yes, I do play the guitar. I have been doing so for 20 something years, but I've never considered myself a guitar player. That I was a singer first.
Okay.
So that was there as a tool to write songs and compose ideas. I'm sure there's some people who would, tell me I'm a liar and say, what the hell are you talking about? But ultimately, I enjoy doing it. My favorite acoustic guitar is Gibson J185. Love that thing. I got it sometime in the mid 2000s. Way out of my league, over my head, over my budget, but I made it happen, stuck to it, and still got it. I'm going to keep that thing forever. Electric guitar right now, playing Charvel, SoCal Pro Mod.
There you go. Okay.
And so screaming.
Yeah.
And I enjoy playing it. In terms of amps and stuff, obviously, you got the Marshall JCM 800s in the back, but not too terribly particular, because truth be told, I played the acoustic a hell of a lot more.
Gotcha.
And not so much in the live capacity. In live, no, that's not something yet broached.
Gotcha. Was the first instrument you learned guitar?
Yeah, it was. And then in the first, 8 or 9 years of Diamond Lane, I played bass and sang until, we wanted to expand the band. I said, I'm dropping the bass. I just want to focus on singing. And then relocated to Los Angeles in 2009 and became a 5-piece. And that's kind of what we did for the, foreseeable future.
Very nice.
Okay, so then favorite mic to sing into. Do you have a favorite mic?
Tried and true, sure, all day long, sure. Yeah. SM58 betas are just fantastic classic mics. In terms of recording, I'm really enjoying my Warm Audio WA87. It's a emulation of the famous Neumann. So it sounds fantastic. They make great products. So I've really been enjoying that. And that's actually what I sang in on None to Spare.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, it's very crisp. I liked it. Yeah,
without a doubt. Great, clean, transparent signal. It's a great product.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I have picked up the SM set. That's what I'm speaking on right now, of course.
Nice.
Absolutely love it. And then I have, I got all the studio stuff. That's what's fun. I love the studio stuff. The equipment stuff I become geeked out on. I tell you, it's just crazy how you can get geeked out on it.
Totally.
Yeah, it's fun to me. It's just fun as part of like who I am, is just being geeked out. I know me and Dusty talked about Shure's being kind of our favorites, because you can. And I had one of my friends that goes, you can scream. He's like, so it's Ben, my friend, who's like more. He's like the yeller. He sings a little bit, but he's more of that intense heavy metal, like yell, scream metal type of stuff. And he was like, yeah, I really like that shirt. I said, yeah, because it will take in your voice. If you are loud and you are proud, the shirt will definitely treat you right, because it has a really great range. And it also, yeah, good stuff.
So it certainly does. I do love looks like we lost James.
Yeah, we did.
Love the Shure mics, and Dusty's spot on, but let's be honest. Dusty, he could make any mic sound great.
He does. He has a great voice. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love musicians because everybody brings something different to the table. And some people just have genuine talent. And I think both of you, definitely, there's a reason why you guys are friends. Talented folks.
Kindred spirits, no question about it.
Absolutely. So how did you? So just everybody who we actually restreamed Dusty's stream yesterday because I wanted to put him into the Tasty Licks.
Sure.
Not a lot of people, but people had already seen it. But I wanted to put him into the Tasty Licks interview because we'll have him on again. But I wanted to get him into the actual stream itself, and we restreamed it. But that's the one thing that is amazing is your guys' vocals are just so spot on. Really great stuff.
Lots of hard work. I definitely go ahead.
Nicole is like, yeah, they're extremely talented.
Oh, so very sweet. Very kind. Cool. No, it's endless application, growing, challenging yourself, and studying, knowing what you're doing. Shout out to my longtime voice coach, Mark Baxter. Dusty takes lessons, or has at one point from him as well. He's a genius. I think it's so important to understand your instrument, because as a singer, your body is your instrument. So you need to know how to take care of it. If something's holding you back, holding you up, there's a right way to make it happen. Essentially, vocal instruction is about adding knowledge and undoing a lot of bad behaviors. Think about when you were a baby. You don't remember, but you can scream until your lungs bleed and won't even have a hoarse voice because they're breathing properly. They're not building all of these restrictions and, I need to lower my voice when I talk on the phone. None of that. Those are all bad behaviors that get ingrained in our skull. And so to be able to peel the layers of the onion back, really look at your craft objectively, knowing the weak spots, knowing the strengths, what you need to work on, then you just keep building and growing. I'm very grateful for my own personal tenacity because every time you want to throw in the towel and say, you know what, things are just not working out. I'm done. This is not happening. No, that's ridiculous. You got to abandon all that because you only get better. As long as you stay in the game and stay on it and stay serious about what you're doing, you only get better. I'm literally the best I've ever been in my entire life, and it's only getting greater. And that just pumps me up because there's so much more to go.
I love that, man. That's a great attitude. That's an amazing attitude. And that's the way that we should all embrace life. I think that's what this single's talking us about is embracing life and just being able to do exactly what you're saying is grow. You've gotten to this point. It's not all of the past is the past. Mm-hmm. It's not a life sentence. You can do whatever you want right now and define yourself at any different moment, at any given moment.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah. So I enjoy it. So this is how did you meet Dusty? It's
a beautiful thing. Look, Los Angeles at the time, we both moved down in 2009. That was a special time. There was a real sense of community and camaraderie. I knew about his band, Bolt Action Thrill, and that they, were out and about. And then, you cross paths, long or the short of it. But what really tied, Dusty and I together and many other folks was the Lonely Drunks Club Band every Saturday night at midnight at the Cat Club. Right next door to the whiskey, there's this little pocket joint that maybe was a little fast and loose with the rules, and you could probably get away with just about any damn thing you wanted up in there. But it was a great introduction to the new city that built a scene and a lot of community. Dusty and I hit it off right away. Nothing but mutual respect, seeing that guy perform and rip the guitar to shreds. Just like, why am I even playing guitar is, what I'm thinking in the back of my head. So, part of the reason why I still probably don't, damn it. But ultimately, the guy just tearing the house down, a lot of common interests, just started hanging out and, the rest is history. We obviously stayed in touch. We had, great, healthy support amongst our bands, even maybe a little healthy competition. It makes everybody better and, step their game up. But we got to live together for a number of years at the Laurel Palace in North Hollywood. If those walls could talk, they would say, cover me with gasoline and burn me to the ground. Good times.
Let's get some good times right there. That is some good times. I have never lived. My sister lived in LA for a while, and I would visit. I just love the whole LA vibe. LA is a really cool place, and I just absolutely think that there's just so much to do, and there's just so many people. And there's a lot of lessons in LA. My sister learned quite a few that she told me about over the years, is, you know, how to network, how to do it well, how not to do it well. Yeah, just very interesting. Very interesting. And then she has a journey on her story about how she's done what she's done. And you know, it's amazing how you can go into the city and you can become whatever you want to become. And now the discussion that I had with Nicole, and see if what you think about this, it's not like that anymore. LA is not, people don't have to go to LA now to become get caught, to get found. It's now in a different realm, and it's not the same.
I agree. I think what changed everything, we all have supercomputers in our pocket, the internet, the access to social media, just the endless opportunity to be distracted, or I don't know, kind of jump your place in the line. I think there was always a rite of passage in mind, you know, having to go down there and earn your points and earn your fan base and cut your teeth and pay your dues and do all that. I think Dusty and my generation, that kind of last cusp, probably 2009 to 2014, 15, it was like really, really, really strong. And then you were seeing apparent changes. People were distracted. People were filming at the show. And it just, little by little, the well got a little poisoned. Doesn't mean that people weren't appreciating and enjoying the music, but I think the community aspect dwindled because a lot of people just got lazy and wanted to do it on their phone as opposed to hit the streets. Changing of the guard, will it ever be the same? Who knows?
There might be, and what I've noticed is that sometimes it's cyclical.
Sure.
It'll, you know, people will be like, yeah, I remember how the old music used to be and how we used to have this community of musicians. And people will go back to that after they realize what they're missing, because they'll be like, I'm missing something. And I think that that's sometimes what people are missing when they realize that social media and all of the things that you can do with it is great. But at the same time, it can be a crutch and is not conducive to that community of live music where you can go in and be part of it and feel it.
Sure.
You know, there is nothing like being at a concert where you can feel the bump of the amp.
Oh.
You can feel that bass. Now you know why that bass is in that music. You know, like before you're like, because I remember when I first started learning bass, I'm like, nobody can ever hear this. And like, there's a reason why it's in here. And you can just feel that bass, that drum, and then you can feel those guitars coming. And that energy just feeds back into the musician, I think, as well. So I think that you miss out when you just try to do everything through lives, and yeah, you miss out.
It's definitely a different experience altogether because there's no debating. I mean, from a performer standpoint, you can't replicate the feeling of having that energy exchange on stage, getting to perform and sing and entertain. And then being on the audience side, same thing. There's nothing quite like being entertained and wowed and enjoying and just, you know, getting that just serotonin dump in your brain. Like, this is awesome. We're having a great time. We're all having positive, kismet, spiritual experience together.
Absolutely. So I'm going to wrap it up here. We got about 2 minutes left. I like to keep it to the hour because your time is precious to us, especially with creation. We always know that 2 minutes is a little bit more. You always got that moment where your time is valuable to us. So, what is one thing that you would like to leave as a legacy and in your life about your music? What is the one thing that you would like to say that is your legacy about your music?
I want to positively contribute to the canon, to all the music that exists, in hopes that one day my music might have an opportunity to be there for somebody who needs it or is seeking it at the right time, much in the sense that a lot of great music that positively impacted my life at different stages, almost found me. So to create something of quality and substance that will stand the test of time, that is ultimately what I'm after. And that comes with raising the bar, my expectations of myself, my awareness of what I'm actually doing and putting together, not being disillusioned, being less impressed and more involved in terms of my own journey. So that keeps you hungry, fighting, and growing. And so I want to contribute something positive and just great music, because there are so many fantastic artists who just haven't been heard in the right ways, but that should not diminish the will to want to achieve that and keep chasing that.
Awesome. Well said. Well said. Thank you very much for coming on, Brandon. I don't know where James went. I'm sure it was some sort of like dogs came into his house and
Dog came and
knocked
just ate the
knocked
modem.
over ate the modem. Ate the modem. You gotta love it.
Cujo.
So yeah, Cujo came in. So I really appreciate your time. Again, anybody who is following Brandon, and for future viewers of this or podcaster, we do have the new podcast out, Tasty Licks Interviews, on any of your podcast. Go check out this episode. It'll be on there fairly soon. But what I want to say is thank you so much. Our stream is nothing without the musicians that come in and share their stories. Your new album is amazing. Go check out None to Spare, his new single. Again, as you can tell, that he's still creating more of this album. It's going to come out, and you said fall, correct?
Yeah,
Is about when your new album, but there'll be some more singles coming out.
Early July, the next song's coming.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to get you on again to be able to talk about those. So
would love to. I appreciate taking the time to have me on the show, and it was a great chatting with you. And for anybody who tuned in, thank you. Appreciate your kindness and your time. Check me out at brandonbaumann.com or get at me on Instagram, Brandon B. There's B.R.A.N.B.O.N. Just
absolutely.
a dot after every letter.
Yes, absolutely. And everybody go follow the man. He is on a journey. He is making great music, and we definitely are following him, and we look forward to seeing some more music from him. And thank everybody for rocking out with us today. We had some awesome desserts. We had some awesome conversation. We're talking great music, and we'll be doing it again next week. We look forward to seeing you there, and we're out of here. Rock on, guys.
Take it easy.